Hi, my name is Bibek Adhikari. I am an English instructor. In today's class, we are going to solve the grammar portion of Unit 15, that is the passive voice. So let's begin.
The passive voice. The passive voice is used to show interest in the person or object that experiences an action rather than the person or object that performs the action. So, in other words, the most important thing or person becomes the subject of the sentence. So, let me demonstrate that by giving you some examples. The passive voice is used frequently. So in this sentence, we are interested in the passive voice, not who uses it. The sentence is the passive voice is used frequently. We don't care who uses the passive voice. We care that the passive voice is used frequently. Let me give you two more examples. The house was built in 1654. So in this sentence, we have was built. And here we care, we are interested. Here we are interested in the house, not in who built it. All right. So in this sentence, we are interested in the house. The house was built in 1654. That means we are deeply interested in the house. We don't care who built the house. One more example, and you'll be very clear. The road is being repaired. All right, this is the sentence, is being repaired. We have again be plus V3. In this sentence also, we are interested in the road, not in the people who are doing repairs. So that is the thing, in this sentence also, we are interested in the road. We don't care about the people who are doing repairs. Right? So sometimes we use the passive voice because we don't know or do not want to express who performed the action. Let me give you some more examples. I noticed that a window has been left open. Another example. Every year, thousands of people are killed on our roads. All the cookies have been eaten. My car has been stolen. All right, these are the four different examples. Let's find the passive structure first. I notice that a window has been left open. Has been left is clearly passive. Every year, thousands of people are killed. So, are killed is again passive. All the cookies have been eaten. So, have been eaten is again passive. And finally, my car has been stolen. Has been stolen as the passive structure. The passive voice is often used in formal text. What kind of text? Formal text. Switching to the active voice will make your writing clearer and easier to read. So, I notice that a window has been left open. Somebody has left open a window. Sentence is clearer. Every year, thousands of people are killed on our roads. Accidents kill thousands of people every year on our roads. Better sentence, right? All the cookies have been eaten. Somebody has eaten all the cookies, or my brother has eaten all the cookies. My car has been stolen. Somebody has stolen my car, so my car has been stolen. In all these sentences, the interest is in the person or object that experiences an action rather than the person or object that performs the action. So we are focusing on objects, not the subjects, right? Now let me show you, how we transform passive voice into active voice and vice versa. First, we'll start with the passive construction and we shall go to active construction. All right, our planet is wrapped in a mass of gases. This is one example. Let me write another one. Waste materials are disposed of in a variety of ways. All right, let me transform these sentences into active voice. Our planet is wrapped in a mass of gases. So let's first find the passive construction. Where is the passive construction? Is wrapped is clearly passive. So now we need to change this construction into active voice. Our planet is wrapped in a mass of gases. All right, let's change this into active. A mass of gases wrap around our planet. Now look at the verb. Now the verb is wrap. It is an active verb. Let's look at another example. Waste materials are disposed of in a variety of ways. Where's the passive construction? Are disposed. Now we need to change this into active, like we did in example number first. So we can write something like this. The city disposes of waste materials in a variety of ways. All right. So what's the verb? The verb is disposes. Now let's read, parallelly these two sentences. Our planet is wrapped in a mass of gases. A mass of gases wrap around our planet. Which one sounds better? Active or passive? Read the sentences once again and decide for yourself. Which one sounds better? Clearly, the active voice is much better when it comes to speaking, when it comes to writing, because the writing seems to be strong, there. Let's look at the second example. Waste materials are disposed of in a variety of ways. Too constipated, right? The sentence is somehow not working. The structure is too constricted. Now let's read the active voice. The city disposes of waste materials in a variety of ways. Far better. So, if we want to say who or what performs the actions while using the passive voice, we use the preposition by. That is one rule. So, I have not talked about that rule in this one, but I shall talk about that rule in another examples. Alright, let's talk about that rule. A Hard Day's Night was written by the Beatles. So was written is the passive construction because be verb plus clearly past participle V3 is used. A Hard Day's Night was written by the Beatles. Now let's change this into active. How would we do that? We want this sentence into active since it is in passive voice. In active, we would write something like the Beatles wrote a hard day's night. So, fantastic song. Okay. Beatles wrote. Now we have a V2 and it is active. What was the rule? So we use by. We always use by when we're using passive construction. One more example. The house was built by my father. The house was built by my father. The active construction of this sentence is my father built this house. Alright, so this is the. I think the is used. So let me correct that, and here is the. Sounds good? So was built is clearly passive construction, while built is active. My point is, when we know who performed the action and we are interested in the person, it is always better to switch to the active voice instead. So rather than saying the house was built by my father, you can say my father built the house, because this sentence is too constricted and too constipated and too stupid. So say something like my father built the house. When you're speaking, when you're writing, do not. It's very insipid to say something like the house was built by my father. Why should you say that? Because you already know that your father built the house. So simply say my father built the house. Alright, now let me teach you how to form the passive voice. The topic is forming the passive voice. It's called forming the passive voice. Alright? So the passive voice in English is composed to be of two elements. And what are those elements? They are first a be verb. In fact, it is a to be verb followed by what we call a past participle, or what Indians call a V3. Because British people and American, they never call They never say V3. English and American, they never say V3. They say past participles, but Indians like to call it V3. So there are two functional groups. So there are two, functional elements. First is to be, followed by a V3. All right, let me give you two examples. The house was built in 1899. Let me give you another example. Were these houses built in 1899? So let's find a passive construction, all right? The house was built. Clearly, was is be verb and built is a past participle. So in second example, were, we have a be verb here. Were these houses built? We have a past participle here. So that is the passive form. Now let me give you some, some examples and some rules. First, we need the subject. Then we need to be in a conjugated form. Then we shall need past participle or V3. All right? Then we'll need the rest of the sentence. So example follows like this. The house to be verb is cleaned every day. Is this active or passive? It is passive. Very clear. We have a to be verb followed by a past participle. And this is in simple present tense. Let me write something from the present continuous tense. Which tense is this? This is simple present tense. All right, I'm writing short forms, the acronyms. More example. The house is being cleaned every day. So we have the be verb and V3. And which tense is this? It is simple. Sorry, it is not simple. It is present continuous tense. More example. The room was cleaned every day. Now, if you look at this example, we have a be verb followed by a past participle. And which tense is this? It is simple past tense, right? Simple present tense, simple past tense. More examples. The room was being cleaned every day. The room was being cleaned every day. We have a be verb followed by a past participle. And which tense is this? This is past continuous tense. All right? Let me write more examples. I love examples, by the way. The room has been cleaned before he arrived. The room had been cleaned before they arrived. The room will be cleaned next week. The room will be being cleaned tomorrow. The room would be cleaned if they had visitors. All right, let me be very quick and find the structures. The room has been cleaned, so we have present perfect tense. The room had been cleaned, we have a past perfect tense. The room will be cleaned, we have future tense, future simple future tense. Will be being cleaned, we have future continuous tense. Would be cleaned, we have present conditional. So what if the sentence it's something like the house would have been cleaned? It would be called past conditional, right? And if you say something like the house must be cleaned before we arrive, that is what we call an infinitive. All right, let's talk about passive voice with infinitives. Passive voice with infinitives. For example, you have to be tested on your grammar. John might be promoted next year. She wants to be invited to the party. All right, let's find the passive construction. The infinitive passive voice is used after modal verbs. So think about the term called modal verbs. And other most verbs normally followed by an infinitive. You have to be tested. Have to is modal verb. I'm writing MV here as a modal verb. We have be construction followed by a past participle or V3. Might be promoted. Might is again a modal verb. Be is be and promoted is V3. Want to be invited. Want is not a modal verb but a verb, and that is followed by the conjugation be plus V3. You can say something like, I expect to be surprised on my birthday. That is also passive construction. Right, let's talk about a new topic. It's called passive voice with gerunds. Passive voice with what? Gerund. I remember being taught to drive. Another example could be, most film stars are being interviewed. Another example, poodles like to be pampered. This is an infinitive form. To convert this into gerund, I need to write something like, poodles like being pampered. Now that is gerund, not to be. All right, let's study about gerunds. What are gerunds? Gerunds are used after prepositions and verb, normally followed by a gerund. So I remember being taught. That is a gerund. Most film stars are being interviewed. We have a gerund. Poodles like being pampered. And the thing is, you can convert each of these sentences into infinitive. I remember being taught to drive. I remember I was taught to drive. Most film stars are being interviewed. Most film stars are to be interviewed. You can say something like that. Poodles like to be pampered. Poodles like being pampered. Right? Let's move on. There's a special case which is called to be born. What is it called? It is called to be born. So to be born is a passive form and is most commonly used in the past tense. However, in some cases, the present or future tense is appropriate. So here are some examples. I was born in 1976. Where were you born? Question mark. Around 100 babies are born in this hospital every week. We don't know on exactly which day the baby will be born. Right? So I was born as a passive construction because we have a be verb followed by V3. Where were you born? Again, a passive construction. Are born is a passive construction. Will be born is also a passive construction. So this is the special case we talk about, to be born, and it is always passive. Do you know that sometimes the passive is formed using the verb get? Sometimes we use the verb get to form the passive. Or sometimes to have instead of the verb to be. This is dealt in a separate video, so I'm not going to talk about this right now here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some homework. Now you don't like this part, but it's okay. I'm going to give you some homework and they're going to be very simple. Homework time. Right, this is the homework time. All you need to do is write a paragraph about the changes that have been made in your city by using the passive voice. Use the passive construction and write a paragraph about the different kind of changes that have been made in your city. And that's your homework. All right. With this, we have come to the end of today's class. If you have any questions or suggestions regarding these video series, feel free to write us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you.